Hi, my name is Aldo, and my intention with these videos is to show you a little bit more of what Mexico City looks like. I actually am currently walking in the neighborhood of San Angel. It's an interesting story because actually Mexico City originally was a group of different little towns. So we have San Angel, and then we also have Coyoacan. I'm currently walking in the streets of San Angel, and yeah, I wanted to show you a little bit more of it and tell you the story of it. So originally Mexico City was a bunch of different towns, especially during the colony. These towns started to thrive. We have San Angel, Coyoacán, Condesa, and Zócalo, of course. Little by little, as these towns started growing, they just started to connect, and that's how Mexico City eventually came to be. That's the reason why you don't have only like downtown. It's more like every little town has its own downtown, and I'm making this series of videos especially for people who are considering to come and live in Mexico City. I basically just want to show them or to show you what it's like in Mexico City, how you can rent an apartment, buy a house, and basically to just show you how life is in general around here. So if you're considering Mexico City as your new home, you definitely should watch. I was born and raised in Mexico City. My name is Aldo, but I actually have lived in 3 different places. I went to school in Toronto, and just as of late, so I was living there for 3 years or so, and just as of late, I went live for a little bit in Naples, in Italy. Yeah, so I was there for quite not so much time, but I just wanted to show you how life is around here in case you're considering this place as your new home. Right now, there's a sign there. They're selling a house. There's actually 2 different signs of houses that they're selling in this area. Have that one over there, and that one over there. So if you're considering Mexico City as your new home, I definitely recommend coming and living here for a little bit before you decide to make that big change. And because for instance, before coming here, I was looking online, and the average price for a home, it's around $700,000 to $1 million. So this specific area is kind of expensive, but of course, as you start getting a little bit outside, prices start going down. But the thing though is that prices are usually a little bit inflated online. So my advice is for you to come and stay at an Airbnb, live for a little bit here, and see the prices for yourself. Call the numbers. I know it probably can be overwhelming sometimes if you don't speak the language, but people are very friendly here, and although there are not many people who know how to speak English here, they definitely will try and help. So yeah, my advice would be that come and live for a little bit here. It's actually a Saturday here. It's a very sunny day, warm, and it's already kind of late. It's 5 p.m. in September, so almost fall, but not quite yet. And yeah, so my point is that normally online websites like Immobles24, which is kind of like the most popular one here, where you can look at prices of houses and apartment for rent and stuff like that. They usually have prices that are more inflated than if you come and just deal directly with the owner. That will be much more helpful. Yeah, so this is just a typical street here, and now I'm gonna go ahead and show you what kind of like the core of this neighborhood looks like. This is one of the oldest neighborhoods in Mexico City. Actually, Diego Rivera had his own house here, which I'm also going to show you in a little bit. There's a lot of museums around the area, and during Saturdays actually there's this little market, like farmers market, where you can just go and get fresh groceries, which I know how important it is for an expat to be able to find groceries. So that was a motorcycle. That happens sometimes. People can be a little bit loud here, but I guess that's part of the charm of living in Mexico City. You can see that there are some flags already decorating the houses, because actually Independence Day is very close. So our Independence Day is on September 16th, which is when we became an independent nation, and we kicked out basically Spain. Well, yeah, we got our freedom from Spain, and so that's what we're celebrating. So if you're coming to Mexico, I just wanted to say that recently a lot of people have been moving to Mexico City, especially a lot of Americans. And I mean, part of my purpose of these videos is to show you kind of like the reason why are people doing that. And yeah, I mean, one of the reasons, of course, it's the cost of living. It's much less here than it is in the United States. But if you're going to move here, make sure that you're moving here because you actually like the culture, and not just because it's cheaper. Because if you're not willing to learn the culture and to interact with the locals, then your experience for sure isn't going to be good. Because although Mexico City is a pretty developed city, there are still some inefficiencies that you will have to deal with. Like the bureaucracy sucks, the police isn't very good, and I believe every country has its own issues. So if you're moving here, make sure that you're moving here because you actually like the culture and the country and are willing to learn Spanish, and you're not just doing that because you think it's cheap. because it's actually not as cheap anymore. Of course, it's cheaper than the United States, but you know, with this massive influx of immigrants from the United States, also a lot of Europeans are retiring here. So some places are becoming way more expensive than they used to be a few years back. So yeah, I mean, if you're coming over here, make sure that it's not just because it's cheap. It's okay. Valid reasons are that you like the weather, you like the language, you like the art, you like the museums here. All of those are valid reasons. But yeah, don't come just because it's cheap, because it just becomes gentrified, and so every time there are less locals living here and more people who aren't from here. And the beauty of Mexico is its culture, and of course, if we are kicking Mexicans out of Mexico, there won't be much culture left, especially if people are not willing to learn it. So if you want to come and live here, look it, there's another sign there, another property for sale. So yeah, that's what I'm telling you. A lot of these properties are not on online sites like Inmuebles 24, because these sites a lot of times take a commission, so it's not as good for people who are selling their properties. This one is for rent right here, for sale. So it's not as good. It's not, you know, as profitable for people who are selling their houses to do it through online sites like that. So they just rather do it themselves and, you know, keep that commission themselves. The architecture is beautiful here. A lot of these houses were built around the 1950s. So the neighborhood is very old, but the houses, most of them are not that old. This is a very, very, very popular corner or spot here in San Angel. You can see how the streets are decorated with Mexican flags, and well, it's a Saturday, and there are some people playing the drums. So you can see the architecture is beautiful. It actually reminds me a lot of the architecture like places such as Oaxaca, which also has become very popular over these last few years. Reminds me a lot of San Miguel de Allende and Yucatan, which hopefully I'm going to be able to show you soon, these places in the channel, so stay tuned. Yeah, I mean, this one, especially this neighborhood, is one of my favorites in all of Mexico City. My university is actually a few blocks away, so I used to spend a good deal of time around this area while I was a student. So yeah, this is what a typical evening looks like around here. We're almost there in the core part of this neighborhood. That's where the farmers market is, so you'll see what I mean when I say that there's fresh food over there, because I know that the Mexican diet can be a little bit heavy on a lot of you, like all of the irritants and like the spices aren't good for a lot of people. So, but every time, like I said, there are more foreigners, So for sure you will be able to find products that are locally sourced, but you will also find products, you know, that you are used to, that form part of your diet in your home country. So if you're an American, we have a lot of American products, and they are very usual in the supermarkets. There's actually a lot of supermarkets here as well, just within walking distance. So that's what I also like about this area. It's not, you know, just a beautiful architecture, but it's also very centric and very well connected to a lot of things to do and see. So there are banks, malls, and it's actually very walkable because, you know, you can just get walking to all of these places. And especially if you're planning on retiring here, you know, just going for a walk after your meal in the evening, after having dinner, it's very relaxing. And yeah, it's actually very walkable. It's sort of touristic, but not very touristic. Like there are some tourists around, but there is not a lot of them. So, you know, you probably are seeing a lot of cars that are parked like there and there. But this is just because it's Saturday, so everyone is, you know, chilling and just looking for things to do. This is a school. This is actually a pretty cool school. It's a public school, so anyone can come here. Education is for free in Mexico, all the way to university, but it's competitive. So look at that says to Mrs. Julia Rojas, godmother forever of the tuna. It's basically a memorial plate. But yeah, there's definitely a lot of history in this neighborhood, and it feels like a little town inside of Mexico City. That's what I love about it. So we're almost there in the farmers market, or the bazaar. That's how they call it here. There are all kinds of stuff over there. So they sell, like I said, they sell produce, but they also sell craftsmen. Yeah, I mean, there are a lot of artisans there selling their work. I forgot the word for, you know, I think it's craftsmanship. Yeah. But this is a church, actually. This is the garden of a church, and the church is right there. So the garden is, of course, public, and anyone can enter it. Like, let's zoom in. A lot of times people go in there, take pictures during special occasions, like their quinceañera, which is actually not called like that in Mexico. It's called 15 años. Also baptisms, confirmations, and all of that. So you see there are a lot of flags everywhere because it's almost September 16. It's actually next week. And September 16 is a national holiday in Mexico. I love the decoration of these houses, how there are pots outside, the little flowers. There, I think that's very colorful and beautiful. And there's a church right there. So you can see how there are a lot of like artisans. this is a bazaar. It's actually small, so it's actually like the size is one block. Um, a lot of these people are just resellers, like they are not the actual people who make these things. So they're just resellers. But I mean, sometimes you can still find good deals. So if you like this sort of stuff, definitely worth taking a look. I'm gonna walk in a little bit. And this is actually another gallery right here. So it's a restaurant, but it's also a gallery. And this is a typical architecture of the houses around this area. And I'm not gonna get in there because it's a private gallery, so they probably won't let me record there. Yeah, that's a typical architecture of houses around here. And where I'm gonna walk in, so as you can see, is a bazaar.
No.
So there are a lot of decorations. For Independence Day, and that song that's currently playing, it's actually called Son de la Negra, and that's kind of like a very typical song that mariachis play, and that's played a lot, especially around especially when we're close to Independence Day. So it's a little bit hectic. There's a lot of people, so I have to be careful of where I'm walking. Yeah, I mean, this is what the environment looks like in general. It's definitely become more crowded during these last few years. When I used to come to college, it wasn't like that. I guess as more people discover it, it becomes every time more popular and more crowded as a consequence, which is good, I guess, because of course it reactivates the economy, but also it's, you know, more hectic. But during the weekends it's always been like this. That's actually not new. And yeah, there's actually a park around here that I'm gonna show you in a bit.